Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous, fabulous. Hey, we got to get ready to adjust our clocks this weekend. It means a lot of lost sleep and days of adjustment for body clocks everywhere, but be ready to adjust those clocks coming up this weekend. Hey, watch your language as well. This is the final day of No Cussing Week in Los Angeles, Heidi.
Ah.
You know where the idea for Anti-Cussing Week came from?
No, but I know I wouldn't last long.
You probably wouldn't. McKay Hatch is a kid that came up with the idea. This started in 2009. No Cussing Club at South Pasadena High School. And they hope to get the whole state of California having a curse-free week, which they're doing. And who knows, maybe it'll be a worldwide No Cussing Week someday. McKay adds, a week without bad language shows that you can live without those four-letter words. So there you go. That is something that would be a lot easier for me than you. You worked with a bunch of people who used that language all the time.
Yeah, I worked at a car dealership with my dad, and yeah.
You guys are crazy. I have to have my bleep finger ready just in case. Just in case. Coming up later in the program, we're going to have a special guest, Teresa Ghilarducci, talking about how to retire and have enough when it's time to retire. It's coming up later in the program. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
We mentioned a little bit ago that it's the last day of Anti-Cussing Week. That's only going on, No Cussing Week, I guess it's called, in California. But it could be everywhere, so don't cuss today. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
It's also Barbie Day. Remember the Barbies? You used to play with Barbies a lot.
I loved Barbies.
There was a song back in the 90s, I'm a Barbie girl.
And I loved that song.
I believe Mattel actually sued them for that song, I believe. Hey, Discover What Your Name Means Day is today. Get Over It Day, Joe Franklin Day, Panic Day, and Registered Dietitian Day. A lot of stuff going on today, so get out there and enjoy one way or another. Discover what your name means. Maybe we'll have to look up what Heidi means, and we'll have to look up what John means. Do you want to know what your name means?
Sure.
All right, we'll have to maybe do that here later. Coming up, we've got duct tape in the news. That is on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Duct tape. You can use duct tape for just about everything, right?
Just about.
But it's not for everything. Parents in Hudson, Massachusetts are
no.
suing A Place to Grow daycare for what they call a pattern of abuse on their children. 3 different families claim that their infants were force-fed, exposed to infectious diseases, spent nap times with blankets over their heads, and were duct taped to a wall at one point.
How?
State investigators said the center's director had been talking about the versatility of duct tape and decided to find out just how versatile it was. And she says it did work on everything. Trying to get kids to behave? Just duct tape them to a wall.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine showing up to get your kids? How was your day at daycare? Well, it wasn't too bad, other than, the 2 hours I was duct taped to the wall. Yeah, this really
things
happened.
would get ugly if that happened to my children.
That would be bad. That would be really bad. So that happened in Massachusetts, Hudson, Massachusetts. And if you're a daycare provider that doesn't like kids, get a different job. I'm just saying, don't do that. Doesn't make any sense at all. I know a lot of daycare providers that are awesome, wonderful, amazing people with very kind hearts, and they don't make a ton of money. So this is an industry where I feel bad that the only time there's ever a spotlight shined on it is when somebody did something narrow-minded and negative. We should be shining the spotlight on them all the time for all the good things that happen, too. Would you do that for a living, Heidi? Would you want to watch other people's kids?
No way.
I wouldn't be able to because I just couldn't do it. I love kids, And I love spending time with like my nieces and nephews and stuff. But I was like, if I had to do this every day, all day long,
Yeah, no way. I
I'm pretty
couldn't
sure
do it.
I'd go crazy. So again, if it's something that that you do for a living, you're probably an awesome daycare provider. Most daycare providers are, but sadly, this group in Hudson, Massachusetts, a place to grow. They're getting sued for duct taping kids to the wall. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. That's kind of a weird arts and craft project. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, and you know this story's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. You know, when you get arrested, they say you have the right to remain silent.
Yes.
Frank Jones took that to heart. He remained silent for a really different reason, though, because his mouth was filled with drugs.
Oh, my gosh.
In an effort to hide the stash, he crammed all of his dope into his mouth as the officers were walking to the car. The first officer that got to the vehicle noticed marijuana smoke billowing out of the car. Then he saw Frank's bulging cheeks and little bits of marijuana scattered all over his shirt and on his lap. He was busted without ever saying a word, so he did have the right to remain silent. And he remained silent because he couldn't talk. His mouth was stuffed full. So
Takes all kinds, doesn't it?
yeah, that's not a good idea. I was just watching a video on YouTube. It was actually shared on Facebook about a guy that was showing how easy, quote unquote, easy it is to fool the cops by hiding a beer can inside of a big cup. I was like, that's not going to work. You think when you get pulled over, if you smell like booze, they're not going to look in there? I was like, if I could share a video during this segment, that would be it. Because that guy wasn't doing anything smart either. All right, coming up, we've got a flower that is pollinating in an interesting way. We'll tell you about that here in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Got your moment of duh here. When entering a flower show, it's usually a good idea to have some sort of experience with flowers, you would think, right?
Yes.
And you might have to tell that to some people. The individual in our participant here for this moment of duh is from North Otago, New Zealand. Their Horticultural Society's summer flower plant and produce show. In other words, it's a flower show.
Sure.
The person that won first prize with her plant, the judges knew that she had spent lots of tender, loving care with her entry until they noticed a flower shop's price tag on the bottom of the plant. So she didn't even grow the plant. She went to the store and bought it. And she's like, hey, look at this.
Man, that takes guts.
Yeah. So I don't understand why they have the headline that the flower show pollinates. That doesn't make any sense because that doesn't say anything about that in the story. Either way, you know that John should pre-read his stuff. And I will, because we have your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. According to a new MIT study, they say, Heidi, the first animal likely to have appeared on Earth was the sea sponge. Yeah, he wore square pants. His neighbor was a guy named Squidward. And there was a guy named Patrick up the street, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a different sea sponge. Researchers report that they found the gene that causes gray hair. So now they're working on kind of finding a way to get rid of the gene or whatever they're going to do with it. I don't mind gray hair. I have more and more of it every single week.
I mind gray hair.
I'm saying that it's just fine. I'll take it. Hey, if you work from home, do you ever work without your clothing on? This is interesting. 10% of those who work from home wear nothing while on the job.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. About 39% of respondents, both men and women, say that while they're working from home, they will wear sweatpants. Another 12% of men and 7% of females wear nothing at all while working from home.
There is no way. There had to have been people that were just like, I'm just going to mess with them on this survey. I'm going to say I wear nothing. How could you even feel comfortable doing that? There's no way.
Sure hope that nobody stops by to check on you while you're working from home.
Skype conference or something.
Hey, just wear a dickie. I can tell you're not wearing anything else. Might move closer to the camera or something. Not that close. All right. Hey, this will surely bring the third Powerball winner out of hiding. Automaker Bugatti has unveiled a new car. It's called the Chiron, Chiron. Top speed, 261 miles per hour. Guess how much money this thing's going to cost?
I have no idea.
$2.6 million.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
I can't even afford the lug nut. A 4-year-old in the UK has been nicknamed Dr. Harvey. You know why?
Why?
He saved his classmate from choking.
Oh, that's nice.
He got food lodged in her throat, or the young lady got food lodged in her throat. Harvey jumped from his seat, smacked her on the back until the food popped out.
That's awesome.
Dr. Harvey, 4-year-old student. That is awesome. Hey, a Woman's Magazine did a survey.
Okay.
They talked to 1,000 women, and they asked about their perfect man.
Okay.
And when they got all the details, they came back, and the perfect man is Mr. Potato Head. Because he's cute, he's tan, and if he looks at another girl, you can rearrange his face. That's kind of a dad joke right there.
Yeah,
it
for
came
sure.
from a Woman's Magazine. No. Hey, a French company will now bottle the essence of your dead loved one for a perfume or cologne. That'll help bring back instant memories. So the scent of Heidi. Every time I miss you, I could just spray this, and there's Heidi. I don't know. That's just kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
A Brazilian man tried to sneak into the United States from Mexico in the gas tank of an SUV.
Ooh.
Customs and Border Protection say they have an imaging device that can spot these things, and they saw an anomaly in the SUV's gas tank. Guess what they found? A Brazilian man.
Jeepers.
Investigators.
That would be very scary.
I'm trying to figure out how he climbed down
Exactly.
that tiny hole.
Yeah.
I'm sure they came up with a better plan. Investigators have finally determined what caused a nuclear power plant near New York City to go offline back in December. Remember that when that happened? They were blaming ISIS. Guess who they should have been blaming?
Who?
They should have been blaming the birds. It was bird poop that
Really?
caused it to go
Oh,
offline.
wow. That's
Hey,
funny.
Spring is around the corner, and severe storm season's not too far behind. In response, Weather Service officials are out with a list of items to have handy: a 3-day supply of water, food that won't spoil, first aid kit, battery-powered portable radio. On the list of emergency tools, they also say cash, a flashlight with extra batteries, and prescription medicines. If you're on prescriptions, make sure you have enough. So they're just saying, hey, we're getting to that time of year. Start getting ready for it. Ready for a strange law?
Sure.
In California, a car without a driver can go 60 miles per hour.
Okay.
That's the law. If you have a driverless car, 60 miles per hour is the legal limit.
Weird.
I don't know exactly.
I don't know how
is
you
that like
do
a
that.
remote control car or one of these new Google things? I don't know. It's a strange law, and this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a special guest joining us today, and this topic is a topic we should all care about. We're going to be talking about retirement. Now, I know you might not be ready to retire yet, but think about this. When you get to the age where you're ready to retire and you're still alive, you want that to be a good thing. So you want to make sure you've got enough money. Well, we've got Teresa Ghilarducci joining us today. She's the author of How to Retire with Enough Money and How to Know What is Enough. Teresa, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, this is a nice book. I think it's a really cool book. We've got a copy of it here in front of us, and I think it's pretty easy to read as well.
Oh, good. That was my goal, and that's not easy for an academic. But it's crisp, accessible sentences because actually saving for retirement is not that hard.
The thing that I really like is this is a topic that everybody should care about because eventually you're going to retire or you're not going to be alive. So let's hope for the retirement part. And when you get to that point in your life, if you make it that far, you want that to be good news. You don't want it to be bad news. So this is a topic that should matter to everybody. Many times when you read books that have to do with finances, they're really complicated and really hard to understand. But this is just a really common sense, very simple to read, very easy to read book, and I thank you for doing that, because this is the kind of information everybody really should know about.
Yeah, thank you.
So when it comes to retiring comfortably, and when I get to that point, how much is enough, and how much should I be saving as I'm thinking ahead for retirement?
The target is 8 times your salary, and most people do not have 8 times their salary. I have sort of a roadmap. When you're 20, you should have 1 times your salary. When you're 30, twice, and so forth. But by the time you're 65, you should have $400,000 if you make $50,000 per year. Now, most people don't have that, so I have lots of ways that people can do a workaround. Also, if you paid off your house, you don't need to have that much either.
How do I make my money grow? What are some ways that I can take the money that I do have saved and turn it into more? And how do I save money as well? How do I cut some costs?
So let me take how to make your money grow. It is a lot less complicated than you would ever think. You make your money grow by paying less fees. When rates of return were in the 8 and 9 and 10%, it was easy for the 401k and IRA providers to hide their extraordinary fees, because they can take 1, 2, 3% right off the top. If your money is in a regular IRA, you could be losing up to 30% of your account balances. For a lot of people, they lose their principal in their IRAs just because the fees are eroding their accounts. So the way to grow your money is to avoid actively managed funds and go to a low-fee account. I have no relationship with Vanguard, but they have the lowest fees. So people should dump their financial advisor and go to index.
And I was going to say, I'm reading in here that you're saying get rid of your guy. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, I got a guy that does that for me. This guy, yeah, he helps me with that. And you're saying, do it on your own. Get rid of the guy.
Yeah, so I think you, probably anybody listening to me, have heard people, or maybe they've even said it themselves, oh, I'm fine. I have a guy. The problem is that guy is a conflicted advisor 9 times or 99 times out of 100. They are people who don't charge their fees right up front. And when you ask them how much they cost, they say, oh, I don't cost anything. Well, that belies any common sense, because they eat and need shelter just like everybody else. They get money off of selling you accounts that aren't worth it, that are too high fees. So dump your conflicted advisor and go to an index fund. Vanguard will help you put your money in the right mix of stocks and bonds. It's folded into the fees that you pay. The reason why it's not a lot of money is because they don't advertise a lot, and and their people are salaried. It makes no difference to them, what your asset allocation is, and it's also pretty easy. Your mix of stocks and bonds really depends more on your age and your attitudes more than anything else. So dump your guy and go to the index fund.
Now, there's one guy that we can't dump. That's the U.S. government guy, the tax guy, and Social Security. So since we got to do that, that's not our choice. How do we get the most out of that system?
Yeah, well, every day I am thankful, especially in the financial crisis, that Social Security and Medicare are mandatory. Everybody who's retiring has about $1 million with that guy, with Uncle Sam, and that's a good thing. The way to manage that is to make sure you basically vote for politicians that will maintain and strengthen the system. The system is strong. The system is strong economically, and the system is strong politically. So but we have to be mindful and tend to, that garden of our portfolio, just like we pay attention to all the other parts. So it's important to realize your power as a voter and to maintain the strength of those systems.
Again, our guest today is Teresa Ghilarducci. She's the author of How to Retire with Enough Money and How to Know What is Enough. Teresa, where can I find a copy of this?
So you can just go on the web and look for How to Retire with Enough Money, or go to your independent bookstore and get it. It's in a lot of bookstores or a chain bookstore. But How to Retire with Enough Money, and that will pop up.
And I have to mention your other book as well, When I'm 64, The Plot Against Pension and the Plan to Save Them. I think that, first of all, what a great title, because it made me instantly think of the Beatles song, and I was like, now they are 64 or over. That book's been out a little while. You've done pretty well with that, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. A lot of attention on, maybe it's because of the title, but maybe because I called out the retirement crisis, and everybody knows it.
Well, thank you for keeping the people of America in mind while you're putting pen to paper and writing these books. And again, I love the fact that this one it's a very simple and easy to read book. Folks, if I can understand it, you can understand it. The book is called How to Retire with Enough Money and How to Know What is Enough. Teresa Ghilarducci has been our guest. Teresa, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Hey, thanks a lot. Good luck with your life.
Again, our guest today has been Teresa Ghilarducci, an expert on retirement, pensions, and personal savings. She's also got another book called When I'm 64, and her new book is called How to Retire with Enough Money and How to Know What is Enough. You can find it both on Amazon. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
100% of Miss America winners gain weight during their first year of their reign.
Well, of course.
100% of graduates also gain weight during the first year out of school, and 100% of married men gain weight the first year of their marriage. I don't think that's a very fair study. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are 5 million scent receptors located in your nose. 5 million.
Wow.
That's a lot. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A giraffe can go longer without water than a camel.
Really? I didn't know that.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Speaking of camels, Dunkin' Donut shops located in the Middle East sell donuts that are filled with figs.
Ew.
Doesn't really sound good to me,
No.
but apparently that's what they like in the Middle East. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
I would explain why they're so crabby all the time.
They're not all crabby. Come on now. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
World's largest peanut-producing facility is the Jif plant located in Lexington, Kentucky.
There you go.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
People who have eaten beetles say they taste like apples.
Ew.
And speaking of apples, believe it or not, apples, not caffeine, is more efficient at waking you up in the morning. So an apple a day will keep the coffee away? I'm not exactly sure. That's a couple of fun facts. We've got good and bad news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Good news and bad news, Heidi. We're
All
going to
right.
talk about daylight savings time on this Wednesday. It's coming up this weekend. We move our clocks forward 1 hour, and the good news is it'll stay light 1 hour later in the evening. The bad news is most Americans will start losing an hour of actual sleep. With recent reports saying that most of us don't get enough sleep, this could make things worse. It happens every year, though. However, there are some things you can do to avoid feeling drowsy. Experts say you can minimize the effects of the time change by going to bed and getting up a few minutes earlier every day this week and getting ready for it by eating dinner an hour earlier. And in any case, be careful on your commute next week because there's a lot of groggy drivers. There are more accidents next week than any other week during the springtime here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's other times of the year where there's more accidents from slipping on ice or things like that, but this one is people that are groggy and smacking into each other, so drive carefully next week. We'll give you plenty of reminders between now and this weekend to make sure you change your clocks, because we'd hate for you to miss an hour of our program.
That would be awful.
I don't know what to do now. I missed part of the John and Heidi Show. That'd be terrible. Do you like it when they do the time change thing? Is that...
It really doesn't affect me either way, honestly.
Well, you
I don't
change
care.
the clocks, but there's a group of people right now saying we should get rid of daylight savings time. You on board with that, or you
I
think
really
it's
don't
okay?
care either way. Whatever they
affect you
do,
enough?
just tell me what I'm supposed to do, and that's what I'll do. I don't care.
So-
I think there are other things we should be worried about
Yeah,
right now. Honestly,
probably.
that is not a priority.
All right, there you go. Daylight savings time wrapping up this weekend. We change our clocks again. Coming up here, no, it actually starts. Daylight saving time starts this weekend, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works. A change, Saturday night, Sunday morning. It's all coming up. Hey, we've got McDonald's with an interesting thing in a different part of the world, something we don't have around here. Going to tell you about that in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
We've talked about McDonald's a little bit this week, haven't we?
We have.
So we had a couple of weird stories from other parts of the world. They had Cadbury eggs in one place. What was the other thing that they had at a McDonald's? I don't remember.
I
what
don't
it was.
remember.
It was yesterday. We talked about it. There was 2 McDonald's stories in a row. Well, I could have added this because here's a third one. It's hard to imagine a fast food restaurant nowadays that doesn't have a drive-through window. But what about people that don't drive cars? What if they're on a snowmobile? Well, it's a big enough concern in Sweden for McDonald's headquarters to do something about it. Now, Sweden has a drive-through for snowmobiles. Some parts of the world, they call them snow machines. Anyway, comes with its own ramp and track. It opened in Piteå, Sweden, about 80 miles south of the Arctic Circle. So if you're cruising around on a snow machine or a snowmobile, you can pull right up and get your McD's and cruise on down the path. Apparently.
Sure. That sounds great.
Important stuff. Coming up here in a bit, Walk Like a Man. That's the headline. We'll tell you what the story is in a bit.
John and Heidi.
I love dumb criminal stories because it just makes me feel better about myself. So the story's title is Walk Like a Man, and here's the story. A crook in Philadelphia stole a woman's purse, but he also tried to steal her identity and her look.
Oh my gosh.
Clayton Lindsay was arrested trying to buy a car with a stolen credit card. In order to fool the dealership, Lindsay, who is 6'4" and 190 pounds, dressed like a woman. Suspicious, the dealership ran a credit check, discovered the woman had been the victim of fraud and should verify all information. Police say when the woman was contacted, she said her purse containing her driver's license and credit cards had been stolen. Lindsay, who was also carrying a fake ID card with the lady's name on it,
Wow,
but with his
he was
picture,
prepared.
was charged with forgery, attempted theft, and deception by identity theft. So this guy went in dressed like a woman trying
You
to
know,
buy
if
a car.
you've earn that much energy, go get a job and
Yeah,
earn
do
money the
something-
right way. Why do you gotta do that? If you're smart enough to figure all that out,
Apparently. Yeah, but the
Get a
one
job.
problem he had, the fake ID card had his picture as a man, so he should have maybe had himself as a woman in that. I don't know. Coming up in a bit, we've got some products that you just don't need. That's all on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Here's some products that you probably don't need. If you're on a tight budget and you don't want to start using some items you already have on hand to do the same job, wall filler. They say you don't need that. I don't know if this is true, but they say using white toothpaste will also do the trick. I don't know if that'll work.
depends on the size of the hole.
Yeah. I punched a hole in the wall with my fist, and I got a whole tube
This
of
room
toothpaste.
smells like peppermint. It's divine.
Scuff remover. Rub the inside of a banana peel over silverware, leather shoes, and leather furniture, and then wipe a soft cloth. Test it on an inconspicuous section first, but a scuff remover, a banana peel, the inside of a banana peel does that. Didn't know that. Wallpaper cleaner, soft chunks of crustless white bread. So rip the crust off and use that. Drain cleaner. Sprinkle a quarter cup of baking soda in the drain, followed by a cup of vinegar. Let it sit for 15 minutes, and then flush with hot water. Blind duster. Use the anti-static spray on blinds to keep dust from piling up. That's interesting. Antibacterial bathroom cleaner. To kill bathroom germs, spray full-strength vinegar around the sink and tub. Wipe clean with a damp cloth. Silver jewelry polish. Do we use any of this stuff so far?
No.
A soft toothbrush. Scrub your silver jewelry with a bit of toothpaste containing baking soda and then rinse with warm water. Enamel repair paint. Use correction fluid like whiteout to cover nicks and chips on white enamel in kitchens and things like ranges and refrigerators and such. Stainless steel polish. A staple in most garages, WD-40 works wonders on stainless steel. Spray and rub with a cloth for a spotless shine. I didn't know that either. Mirror cleaner. What do we use to clean our mirrors?
Well, in order to clean the mirrors, you'd actually have to clean. So
nothing is what we use?
Well, no. They say live each day like it's your last. Yeah. I'm not going to spend my last day cleaning.
Well, they say if you got a mirror that needs some cleaning, a little shaving cream, the old-fashioned white kind, not the gel stuff, wipe it with a cloth. A tip, it'll also help keep the mirror fog-free after showers. Grill degreaser. To maintain a clean barbecue grill, sprinkle dry baking soda on a damp brush and scrub, then rinse. And the last thing, laundry bleach. If you want natural bleaching, instead of putting laundry bleach in, they say hang your clothing outside in the sun and your whites will turn very, very white. Good stuff. It'll sun fade them, Heidi. See? Little tip from the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We always try to wrap things up here with positive stuff. We always try to talk about good news. And today we found this. Did you know that humor can be a key component of a good marriage, Heidi?
Yes.
A recent article from Focus on the Family says that laughter has an important psychological effect on you and your soulmate. Authors Les and Leslie Parrott say humor brings more than psychological benefits to a husband and wife. Humor helps us cope with other things, too. I'll have the full article on our Facebook page, so if you want to read it, you can go there. Let's talk about this for a second. Do you think humor helps in our relationship?
Absolutely.
There's so many times that I will do something so dumb, and then we'll laugh about it. And I got to tell this story right here, because this was so funny. This happened just recently. I went to the store to get stuff for spaghetti. And we love spaghetti. Heidi's got a great spaghetti recipe. And I went to the store and I looked at the tomato sauce cans and I grabbed what I thought was tomato sauce. Then I got home and found out it wasn't tomato sauce. I brought home diced tomatoes.
Diced tomatoes.
And Heidi was giving me all kinds of guff about this. She's like, what is the deal? You just randomly
you did it twice.
Any can.
Two different times. He went out to get tomato sauce and comes home with diced tomatoes.
So she's saying, what do you just go in, blindly grab any can that's in that aisle? What do you do? So it's funny because she went to the store with our daughter, and while you were at the store, you went to get some tomato sauce.
I flat out said, I'm going to go ahead and buy it while I'm here. I'm going to get 2 cans so the dad doesn't screw it up. And I got home and one of the cans was diced tomatoes.
And it was the same exact kind that I got.
And I told Taylor, don't tell Dad. First thing she did was go tell Dad.
I was in the other room. I heard you guys laughing. Don't tell Dad. I'm like, oh, what's going on out here? Yeah, Mom bought some diced tomatoes too. So if anybody needs some diced tomatoes, you gave them to your mother, didn't you?
I don't know. You must have.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I think her mom was visiting this weekend, and Charlie was there as well. And I said, you know what? We don't like diced tomatoes. And she says, I like them. Here, you have 3 cans. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. It is very important to have a little humor because sometimes when you do something dumb or when there's something that happens, it's better to laugh about it than fight about it. So find a way to find humor in everything you do. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
And we're going to start our bonus break with something that I think is really interesting. The weather has just been really bizarre. Different parts of the world are having different kinds of problems. Some places, they've had cold weather, but most places, this winter has been pretty darn good. Like there were some places that had no snow at Christmas time. Where we live, we had no snow until, remember which day?
No.
Christmas Day. I remember our kids were going, oh, hey, great, we're getting snow on Christmas Day. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want that. That was not a gift. I don't want snow. But Anchorage, Alaska, they've had weird weather. Weird enough that they needed to get 7 train cars filled with snow hauled in to Alaska's largest city to kick things off for the Iditarod sled dog race. Their ceremony started on Saturday, so last Thursday they were literally loading the snow on the trail so they could actually go because there was no snow.
Wow.
That's kind of cool. Hey, this is a story that I shared the other day on Facebook, but I'm going to share the story here. You can see the video on our Facebook page. Some crazy video. Officials from Burke County, Georgia, have arrested a 17-year-old after he was caught on camera attempting an armed robbery. The clerk in charge of the convenience store is seen in the video fighting back against the robber, grabbing at his gun, and then hitting him with the cash register drawer. So somebody's saying, hey, I'm having none of this. You're not getting my stuff. So I got the video and shared that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
I wouldn't comply if somebody was trying to rob me.
No, probably not. No, you'd
I would
probably
not.
shoot him. You'd have your gun. She's packing most of the time. So you better be careful what you say to Heidi. It's one thing to disagree with her on Facebook. It's completely different to disagree with her in person. I say, you're right, dear, quite a bit. Hey, 2 men in New Mexico are accused of dealing drugs in the parking lot of an adult video store. Guess what their office was?
What?
A portable toilet.
What?
Who would buy drugs from a portable toilet?
That's why they say this is good shit.
You can't say that.
Yes, I can on the
No.
internet.
I don't think we're going to let you say that. No, we're not going to go. Judges? No. We're bleeping that. Thank goodness. In Harling, Texas, Manuel de la Garza walked into a bank with intentions of walking out with cash. At the first teller window, he told an employee that it was a heist. I want all the money in the vault. Then he approached the second teller, allegedly telling her the same thing. Then he moved to the third teller.
Oh, my gosh.
Where he asked her to empty her pockets and give her the money that she had. The witnesses say he sat on a chair in the lobby waiting patiently as the tellers filled the bags. Little did he know, the first teller also tripped a silent alarm. When police arrived, he was sitting in the lobby still waiting for his cash, and he got none. Nothing went to this guy. Justin John Bowden, 27, of St. Paul, Minnesota, pled guilty to assault after he began yelling at a 59-year-old woman at a bus stop, and then he, again 27, she 59, he hit her in the face when she tried to call police on a cell phone. That's when a 63-year-old man tried to intervene, and then he hit that man with a blue folder and fled. He was tracked down via the folder, which contained his homework from the anger management class he was going to. Pretty sure he's not going to pass that class.
That's nice.
So he's 27 years old, and he's smacking around a 59-year-old woman and a 63-year-old man. Sound really tough there, Justin John Bolden. Hope somebody shows him a thing or two about a thing or two. And our final story. Michael Ray Hunter found out Wednesday night that the parking lot of a West Virginia State Police headquarters is probably not the right spot to be dealing drugs. think that's what he was doing. Let me see what he was doing. A trooper had just happened to be walking nearby when he was relieving himself. That's what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
The trooper approached him and he smelled alcohol. That discovery led to the trooper going to the pickup truck where his buddy Alan Richardson was checking phone messages. During the search, the trooper found a marijuana pipe and some pills. Richardson had no prescription for either. Both men were arrested. So there you go. I knew there was drugs involved. I thought that's what he was doing, was dealing them. No, he was peeing. That's what he was doing.
Nice.
He was relieving himself. Bad idea.
In front of a police station.
You don't do that. That's not good. That's going to do it for your bonus break. It's brought to you by Knowles Systems. Now, if you have funds that are earning less than 6%, what are you doing? I've been telling you about this. A commercial mortgage bridge loan could be just what you need. Earn 6% to 8%. You can get all the details at commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Go there and check it out. And in the drop-down menu, make sure you tell them that you heard it on the John and Heidi Show.